If you're an advisor, you already have ideas that can work in the market. The real question is, how fast and how consistently can you turn those ideas into live advisory and scale them across clients? On Wizzer, you can go from a strategy idea to a deployed system in minutes and run your entire advisory business around it. Let me show you how that actually works. It starts with your strategy idea. On Wizzer, you begin by describing the strategy you want to build in plain English. Maybe you want to create a momentum strategy, maybe an intraday reversal setup, maybe a futures strategy with defined entries, exits, and risk rules. Once you define the idea, the next step is making sure the strategy is complete. So Wizzer helps you structure the full logic properly. You define the universe, the entry condition, the exit condition, the risk rules, the position sizing, and how the strategy should behave in real situations. This matters because strong strategies come from clear structure. For you as an advisor, that means a smoother path from idea to working strategy with much stronger clarity from the beginning. Once the structure is in place, the strategy moves into code. This is where your workflow becomes much more flexible. You can continue refining the strategy by describing changes naturally, or you can go directly into the code and edit it yourself. So if you want to change stop logic, adjust timing, add a filter, or refine how entries work, you can do that while staying fully in command of the strategy. That matters because strategy building is always iterative. You test something, improve it, tighten it, and test it again. As you keep refining the strategy, every version is preserved. That means your work stays organized as it evolves. You can revisit older versions, compare changes, understand what improved results, and move forward with much better visibility. Then comes the part that tells you whether the idea is truly ready, backtesting. On Wizzer, backtesting gives you much more than a simple output. You can examine the equity curve, performance statistics, trade level details, and the actual behavior of the strategy across market periods. That means you are not just looking at whether a strategy performed, you are understanding how it performed. You can study where it weakened, what conditions helped, which entries were productive, where risk expanded, and what changed after a rule adjustment. After backtesting, you can deploy the strategy live instantly. For you, that means the move from research to execution becomes much smoother, much faster, and much easier to manage inside one business workflow. Now, once you have one strategy, the next question is, how do you turn that into an actual advisory offering? This is where Wizzer starts helping you think beyond a single strategy. Your strategies are visible, organized, and managed inside one system. So instead of handling them like isolated builds, you start treating them like assets inside your advisory business. That is an important shift because once your strategies are structured properly, you can start combining them in a way that serves different kinds of clients more effectively. This is where strategy capital allocation models come in. This allows you to create different models for different risk profiles. So if one client is looking for a more aggressive setup, another wants a balanced approach, and another prefers a more conservative structure, you can support all of them with clearly defined allocation models. Here you decide how capital should be allocated across multiple strategies. You define which strategies are included, how much weight each one should carry, and how the full model should behave. Once the model is ready, you turn it into a product. This is where your advisory offering becomes clearly defined. You create the product, give it a name, place it inside a product family, and connect it to the model that will power it. At this point, the product knows what logic sits behind it and how advice is meant to be generated. At this stage, you also define the distribution layer. You can create a new distribution channel or choose an existing one. Inside Wizzer, the distribution channel acts as the internal route through which advices are sent, and that route can be connected to external delivery systems like Telegram. So now the product does not just know what to generate, it also knows where to send it. Before the product goes live, you can also define the onboarding stages attached to it. This is important because onboarding is one of the places where advisory businesses need the most consistency. You can decide what the client needs to complete before becoming active. That may include documentation, plan selection and payment, risk survey, agreements, or any other required stage in your onboarding process. For you, this is extremely valuable because onboarding becomes part of the system. Clients move through a defined path and your business runs with much more operational clarity. Once your product is ready, you can invite clients directly into the platform. From there, they move through the onboarding stages you have already defined. Once they are active, you can manage them from a central client layer with much more structure. Once a client is onboarded, you get a much richer operating view through the client dashboard and client profile. This is where you can understand the client in context. You can see the live status around that client, the products connected to them, and the details that matter for decision making and service. That means the client profile becomes a working control layer. You can view the client clearly, understand what needs attention, and take action faster. Now the system moves into live advisory delivery. As strategies track the market and conditions are met, advices are generated and routed through the appropriate product and client setup. This is where the advices dashboard becomes important. It gives you a clear view of the advices being sent through the system. What really stands out is how fast and connected this entire flow is. From the moment a strategy detects a valid market condition, to converting that into an advice, to identifying which clients are eligible, to checking their subscription status, to sending a trade-sized advice to active clients on their preferred communication channel, to the client accepting it, to execution in their brokerage account, and finally, reflecting that execution back inside Wizzer in real time. That entire loop happens within a matter of seconds. For you as an advisor, that changes the nature of delivery completely. You are running a real-time advisory system with speed, precision, and full visibility. And the visibility continues even after advice is sent. You can track the execution of advices in real time from the advices dashboard. This is extremely useful because it gives you an immediate operational view into what is happening after generation. For you as an advisor, that means stronger supervision and better clarity. You can monitor live progress, understand what is happening in the system, and stay much closer to the actual delivery lifecycle. As your business grows, you may also want more people involved in operating it. That is where team management becomes important. On Wizzer, you can invite team members, assign roles, and define role-specific access, so the right people get access to the right parts of the business. This is valuable because scale is not only about adding more clients, it is also about building a team with clarity and control. When all of these layers come together, the real benefit becomes clear. You are running an advisory business with support across strategy creation, product design, onboarding, client management, live advice delivery, execution tracking, and team operations. So if you are an advisor, this is what becoming a Quant Advisor on Wizzer really means. It means you can start with a strategy idea and move all the way to live advisory delivery inside one connected system.
Wizzer, one-man hedge fund.